Hey there, and welcome. Today we're going to talk about something I bet a lot of you know all too well. That feeling that the person you are on the inside, the complex, fast-thinking, super analytical you, is just constantly being misread by the world on the outside.
It's a weird thing, isn't it? Psychology actually shows us that for a lot of really bright people, life doesn't automatically get easier. The very thing that lets you see the world with so much depth can also be the thing that makes you feel exhausted, a little disconnected, and just mentally swamped, even when on the surface everything looks totally fine.
And of course, society loves to slap labels on this stuff. Maybe you get called lazy, when what's really going on is your brain is just hardwired for efficiency, so it fights back against tasks that feel pointless. Or maybe you're seen as anxious, but really, you're just operating with this deep awareness of patterns and outcomes that other people just don't see. Aloof, or just an independent thinker.
But what if these aren't flaws in your character at all? Psychology actually has a really cool way of looking at this. It suggests that these are just features of a pretty unique mental operating system. So think of your mind like a seriously powerful computer. It's got its own hardware, its own software, and it's running a program that's just different from what everyone else seems to be running. The key is understanding how your system works.
Okay, so let's dive into that, starting with the hardware, that high-speed processor that your brain came with right out of the box.
So your brain is basically built to be always on. It's constantly processing, replaying conversations, questioning decisions, even when you're supposed to be relaxing. It craves complexity because simple, boring tasks, they don't give you that hit of dopamine. You question rules, not because you're trying to be difficult, but because your mind needs to get the logic behind them. And your emotions, they feel so intense because you're not just feeling them, you're analyzing them as they happen.
And that brings us to one of the system's most powerful tools, metacognition. It's this incredible ability to step outside of your own head and look at your own thoughts. And this isn't about negative self-doubt. It's what we'd call intellectual humility. It's that little voice inside that's always asking, what if I'm wrong? And that's what allows you to be flexible and grow.
But here's the catch, right? There's always a catch. This high-performance processor, it doesn't have an off switch. It just works overtime all the time. And over the years, this constant deep analysis leads to some serious mental exhaustion, trouble sleeping, and that classic feeling of being completely burned out, even when you haven't been doing much at all.
Now, a processor is only as good as the software it's running. So let's talk about the code, the software that got written by your past, especially those echoes of unmet needs from when you were a kid.
See, when a child's emotional needs aren't met consistently, the brain doesn't just sit there and wait. It adapts. It learns how to soothe itself, how to manage its own stress. And this adaptation writes a really powerful piece of code, hyper-independence. It becomes the default setting. And then, as an adult, the very act of asking for help can feel deeply, deeply uncomfortable, almost like it's wrong.
And this quote just gets to the absolute heart of it. It's not about being arrogant or hating help. It's a survival mechanism. That code was written at a time when support felt like it could disappear at any moment. Your brain just learned that the only person you could truly 100% rely on was you. And that program, it's still running today.
All right, so you've got this high-speed processor running on some custom survival code. How does a system like that connect with the rest of the world? Well, this is usually where you start to see the compatibility issues pop up. And let me be really clear, this is not a bug in your software. It's a compatibility issue. Your operating system is built for depth and logic and efficiency, but it often has to plug into a social network that's running on completely different rules.
I mean, just think about small talk. For most people, it's just a simple social ritual. But for your OS, it can feel like trying to run really clunky, inefficient code. You're thinking in layers. You're connecting all these different ideas that seem totally random to other people. You're digging for meaning, while the conversation stays right on the surface. It's not that you're antisocial. Your brain is just looking for a different kind of data transfer.
And this is also probably why you don't feel a lot of pressure to jump on every trend. Your sense of validation, it comes from inside, not from getting likes or approval. You're asking, does this actually make sense? Not, is this popular? You have a solid sense of who you are that doesn't need to be defined by what's cool this week. You're not trying to be different. You're just running your own program.
So, we've looked at the hardware, the software, and the interface problems. Now, for the most important part, let's learn how to read your user manual and start reframing these struggles from bugs into features. After everything we've talked about, let's just ask this question one more time. Are these things really signs that something is wrong with you, or are they just the totally predictable side effects of a mind that works a little differently?
Let's just reread the code for a second. That thing you've been calling chronic overthinking, that's not a bug. That's a feature called deep processing. That feeling of isolation, that's the cost of independent thinking. Your so-called perfectionism, that's just what high internal standards looks like when you can clearly see how things could be better. And that voice of self-doubt, that's not a weakness, it's intellectual humility, the mark of a mind smart enough to know how much it doesn't know.
So here's the big takeaway. Having a mind like this doesn't make life easier. It makes it deeper, it makes it heavier, and a whole lot more complex. Your struggles are not a sign that you're broken. They are simply the price of admission for a mind that gets to experience the world with incredible depth and awareness.
Just understanding your own operating system, that's the first huge step. It helps you stop fighting against your own nature. So the final question really is for you. Now that you've got a better look at the code running inside you, how are you going to choose to run your program?